AITA for calling the cops on a teenager who tracked down my house and was demanding I let him in? A few months ago, me and my family went out to watch a movie and then have dinner together. That includes my sister and my nephew. Two of my nephew's friends tagged along. They were friendly and nothing out of the ordinary. 2 weeks later, one of my nephew's friends, John, showed up in my doorstep and asked if he could come in. I was weirded out and got a bad vibe and asked him politely to leave. For context, I live alone with my daughter who's 11 years old, and a virtual stranger dropped by in our home unannounced. I looked by the camera and he was holding flowers and other stuff. So I figured this was just a dumb kid with my crush who thought he could woo an adult, but I asked him twice to please just leave and he wouldn't, saying he just had to see me and that he needed to tell me how much he loves me. This included a gross comment about me being a single mom. I told him I was calling the cops, and that's when he bolted. Cops later came, took my statement and just circled around to make sure he wasn't still nearby. I specified that yes, he was just a kid, but I barely knew him and he had tracked down my house and wouldn't leave until threatened. He didn't commit a crime, but the cops still dropped by his parents' house to give him a warning about not leaving private property when told to. I didn't ask the cops to do that. They just took the info I gave. I called my sister to find out his last name and who his parents were and just related that to the cops since they were asking. I just wanted to make sure he was gone. That visit they did was on them. His mom called me, and she first apologized on behalf of her son if he made me feel unsafe, but then told me I went way over the line by involving the cops and how teenage boys having crushes is nothing out of the ordinary, and how this could ruin his life, and I should have remembered he's just a kid. To top it off, my sister also told me I went over the top and how he's one of her son's good friends, and that I should have called her when he wouldn't leave, and she would have sorted it out. I went with my gut feeling, and I don't regret it. Now on to the next story. Story 2. AITA for defending a bride who left her husband at the altar. My husband attended a wedding. It was his kinda cousin/niece's wedding. I'm not sure how to describe the relationship, but they were close growing up. The wedding was a bit unique. There was a brunch before the actual ceremony with bride and groom. Then for an hour the wedding party left to get ready while all the guests were still at brunch. Then the actual ceremony and the real reception was supposed to happen after. I thought everything was normal. At the brunch the couple looked happy and excited, and a little nervous maybe. My husband had told me there had been a little drama leading up to wedding because the groom's family insisted that the groom's ex should attend wedding because they have a good relationship. The ex is an EMT and she apparently saved mother-in-law's life once. The bride didn't want the ex to attend, but she caved in. At the actual ceremony, as you might have guessed from the title, the bride never showed. After a few minutes of awkward silence with the music playing as we waited for the bride's father came, told everyone she left. Groom was crying. Mother-in-law was screaming. It was such a huge mess. At the reception, they basically just told people to take to-go boxes of food, so it didn't go to waste. Since a lot of family was in town for the wedding, bride's side of the family was hosting a reunion. At the reunion, the bride said the reason she left groom at the altar was because at the brunch the ex told her that she slept with the groom and apparently showed the bride a sex tape she made with the groom. Bride was distraught and left because she didn't want to marry a cheater. Groom's side of the family were slandering the bride on every social media platform possible. So the bride's side decided to fire back, and they were publicly accusing the groom of cheating on her, and it was just a big shitstorm. Groom comes to bride's house to try and clear things up. So the groom didn't actually cheat on the bride. The sex tape was from years and years ago. The groom's appearance just hadn't changed that much, so bride believed the ex when she said it was recent. The ex was just trying to break them up. The ex confessed to it too. To my surprise, instead of everyone being angry at the ex, everyone turned on the bride. Her family was pissed at her for wasting money, being gullible, not letting the groom defend himself first. Everyone was yelling at her. I thought it was crazy, so I spoke up in her defense. I would have believed it too if there was video evidence, plus the fact that she was practically forced into the ex attending their wedding. Now the whole family is against me and the bride, and it's so awkward and everyone acting cold. My husband is upset because she now feels like if someone accused him of cheating on me, I'd just take their word for it, but I feel that's completely unfair. Date. So my hubby came back to hotel room and I showed him post because he knows I like using Reddit. I mentioned I specific comment to him where one Redditor asked me how are we sure the tape was old, and that the groom and ex aren't just covering their affair up by lying and saying it's old. I told my husband, and at first he laughed, but he started to think about the whole situation, I guess. While hubby was still at the bride's house trying to help with situation after I left, the environment was getting too much for me, so I went back to hotel. The groom had been groveling to the bride. Even though he was exonerated by ex admitting it was fake, he was still being very apologetic, which threw my husband off a bit. Like, even though he maintained he didn't cheat. Instead of husband being angry about being left at the altar and publicly humiliated, he seemed to just want wife to forgive him. I thought this would be normal because groom probably feels horrible about allowing the ex to ruin the day and hurt the wife like that, but my husband said it was unusual behavior for the groom. Apparently the groom is the high horse type, and he would never apologize for a mistake that wasn't his. Husband knows the groom better than me, so my husband thinks it's plausible that the groom did cheat by the way he's acting, but he's not going to bring it up because of how high tensions are, and it might just make things worse. I also explained how and why I felt like my husband was being unfair to me by saying he thinks I'd believe anyone who accused him of cheating on me. He apologized and told me he was just stressed out earlier, and he feels like we wasted money in this trip and went seeing our kid for days over this wedding that got blown up over a lie. Bride texted me thanking me for defending her. Most of the slandering social media posts were taken down. The ex posted on social media playing victim. Well, not really, but she's posting like heartbreak stuff and those fucking depressed Bart Simpson memes. At her big age, the groom's mother pulled up the bride's house after I left and was threatening to burn the place down because she was mad the bride humiliated her son over a lie because it was such a huge wedding he had many co-workers and stuff there. I feel like I'm missing something, but I'm tired and it's been a long-ass day.